What if I told you that the biggest challenge facing manufacturers in 2026 isn't finding customers, it's finding the capacity to serve them? For the last few years, manufacturers have worried about inflation, slowing growth, supply chain disruptions, and economic uncertainty. But this week, manufacturing news reveals a different story. Demand is returning, orders are increasing, and confidence is improving. And in some industries, backlogs are reaching record levels. The problem is that the manufacturers may not be fully prepared for what comes next. The UK manufacturing sector has reached its strongest PMI reading in the 4 years. Aircraft manufacturers are experiencing an explosion of orders that has created record backlogs. And labor markets data shows manufacturers continue struggling to find the skilled workers needed to support the growth. At first glance, these appears to be separate stories. One is about economic growth, one is about aerospace demand, and one is about workforce challenges. But together, they reveal a much bigger trend. Manufacturing demand is accelerating faster than capacity, and the manufacturers that successfully scale production, workforce, and operations over the next few years may emerge as the biggest winners of the next industrial growth cycle. Welcome to the INDUSTRIQO, where we transform manufacturing news into executive level intelligence. Today, we will examine what happened, why it matters, and what manufacturers should do next. The story 1. The UK manufacturing sector has reached its strongest purchasing managers index reading in the 4 years, extending a growth streak that has surprised many observers. For manufacturers, PMI is one of the most important indicators because it measures real activity across production, new orders, employment, inventories, and supplier deliveries. When PMI rises, it generally signals expanding economic activity. When it fails, it signals contraction. The latest reading suggests UK manufacturers are seeing stronger demand, improving confidence, rising output, and increased order activity. Perhaps more importantly, the data indicates that growth is becoming broader than the concentrated in just a few sectors. After years of uncertainty caused by inflation, energy costs, geopolitical tensions, and supply chain disruptions, manufacturers are beginning to see signs of stabilization. Business confidence is improving, production plans are expanding, investment discussions are becoming more active, and many manufacturers are cautiously optimistic about future demand. So, why it happened? Several factors are driving this improvement. First, infl- inflationary pressures have moderated compared to the extreme levels seen in previous years. This has improved customer confidence and purchasing activity. Second, supply chains have become more stable. Manufacturers are generally experiencing fewer disruptions compared to the pandemic period. Third, industrial investment is increasing across multiple sectors. Companies continue investing in automation, digitalization, reshoring initiatives, and production modernization. Finally, global demand is improving in several manufacturing intensive industries, creating new opportunities for exports and production growth. Taken together, these forces are creating a more favorable operating environment. So, why manufacturers should care? Growth creates opportunity, but growth also creates pressure. As demand increases, manufacturers must ensure that they have the capacity, workforce, equipment, and supply chain necessary to meet customer expectations. The companies that scale effectively will capture market share. The companies that fail to scale may lose opportunities despite strong demand conditions. So the insight that you can draw from this is manufacturing growth is returning, but growth alone does not create competitive advantage. Execution does. The winners will be the manufacturers capable of converting demand into production faster than their competitors. Moving on to the story two, the aerospace sector is experiencing one of the strongest demand environments in recent history. According to the industry data, aircraft orders suddenly surged dramatically, creating a record backlog of future production commitments. For airspace manufacturers, this is a significant development. Backlogs represent future work that has been always already been secured. And in this case, backlog extend years into the future. Airlines around the world continue expanding fleets, replacing older aircraft, improving fuel efficiency, and responding to growing passenger demand. As a result, airspace manufacturers and their supplier networks are facing unprecedented production requirements. The order surge isn't just benefiting aircraft manufacturers, it affects thousands of suppliers producing engines, electronics, structural components, materials, fasteners, precision machine parts, and maintenance equipment. The impact extends throughout the entire airspace ecosystem. So, why it happened? Several major trends are driving this growth. First, the global travel demand continues recovering and expanding. Passenger volumes have increased significantly compared to the pandemic era levels. Second, airlines are modernizing fleets to improve fuel efficiency and reduce operating costs. Third, sustainability goals are encouraging investment in newer aircraft technologies. Fourth, many airlines delayed purchases during periods of uncertainty and are now accelerating investment plans. So, the result is a concentrated wave of demand hitting manufacturers throughout the airspace supply chain. Immediate impact that you will see is over the next 12 months, aerospace manufacturers will focus heavily on capacity expansion. Production rates will likely increase, suppliers will face pressures to scale operations, and investment in automation and manufacturing efficiency will accelerate. At the same time, labor shortages and supply constraints could become significant bottlenecks. The challenge is no longer securing demand, the challenge is delivering against demand. So, the future impact over the next 5 years, the aerospace sector could experience one of the strongest manufacturing growth cycle in decades. Companies that successfully increase capacity, secure suppliers, and attract talent could benefit from years of sustained demand. The sector may also accelerate adoption of advanced manufacturing technologies, digital production systems, automation, and AI-enabled planning tools. So the insight you can draw from this is a backlog is more than future revenue. It is the test of operational capability. The manufacturers that can reliably deliver during the periods of stronger demand will strengthen customer relationships and competitive positioning for years to come. Moving on to the third story, despite signs of stronger manufacturing activity, labor market data shows manufacturers continue facing workforce challenges. Job openings remain elevated, hiring remains active, and competition for skilled workers remain intense. The data suggests that many manufacturers are attempting to grow while simultaneously struggling to find the talent needed to support expansion. This includes production workers, maintenance technicians, engineers, automation specialists, machinists, welders, and skilled trade professionals. In other words, demand for labor remains strong, but supply remains constrained. Why it happened? The labor challenge is not simply a short term problem. Several structural factors are contributing. An aging workforce continues to create retirement driven labor shortages. Many younger workers have historically pursued careers outside manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing technologies increasingly require higher skill levels, and demand for technical talent has expanded across multiple industries simultaneously. As manufacturers modernize operations, they need more specialized workers rather than fewer. The skills required in modern factories continue evolving. This creates an ongoing talent gap. So, why manufacturers should care? Because workforce constraints directly affect the production capacity. A company may have customer demand, available capital, and sufficient equipment, but, but without workers, growth becomes difficult. Labor shortages can delay production, increase overtime costs, reduce operational flexibility, and limit expansion opportunities. In many cases, workforce availability is becoming just as important as customer demand. So, future impact, the labor shortage could become one of the defining challenges of the next decade. Manufacturers will increasingly invest in automation, AI, robotics, workforce development programs, and partnerships with educational institutions. Companies that build strong talent pipelines will gain a major competitive advantage. Those that fail to address workforce challenges may struggle to capitalize on the growing demand. So, the insight that you can draw from this is the next manufacturing bottleneck may not be the materials, it may not be the capital, it may be the people. Talent is rapidly becoming one of the most strategic assets in manufacturing. So, when we connect all these three stories, a clear pattern emerges. Demand is returning, confidence is improving, and growth opportunities are expanding. The UK PMI data suggests manufacturing activity is accelerating. Aircraft orders indicate major industries are entering multi-year growth cycles, and labor market data confirms that manufacturers are already feeling pressure to support expanding demand. This combination creates both opportunity and risk. Opportunity because stronger demand creates revenue growth, investment potential, and market expansion. Risk because many manufacturers may lack the capacity, workforce, and operational flexibility necessary to fully capitalize on that demand. The next phase of manufacturing competition may not be about winning customers. It may be about serving customers better than competitors. Can you hire fast enough? Can you scale production fast enough? Can you secure suppliers fast enough? Can you modernize operation fast enough? The manufacturers that answer yes to these questions will likely emerge as industry leaders over the next decade. Because demand is going back, the question is whether capacity can keep up. So, before we finish, there is one important point worth considering. Many manufacturers invest heavily in production, equipment, workforce development, and operational excellence, but their digital presence often fails to communicate those strengths to customers and prospects. If you are a manufacturer looking to improve your lead generation, strengthen your market positioning, or better showcase your capabilities online, your digital presence should support the same growth strategy you are pursuing inside the factory. Because as competition increases, visibility and credibility become increasingly important. So go and book your free strategy call with us. Link is given in the description. So thanks for watching. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe to the Industry Go for weekly manufacturing intelligence designed for executive, plant managers, operation leaders, and industrial decision makers. We will see you in the next briefing.